Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin bubble news channel. As long as we keep making higher lows and higher highs, more and more will be added. Plan B just got its first red dot, right? The red dots show the time for the spiral move, so I think the next 12 months are going to be really amazing. This week, US spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds, or ETFs, have done very well. They got more than $88 million on Tuesday, which was the second highest daily amount of money coming in since they started in January. After this, another large amount of money came in on Wednesday, taking the total net inflows to $448.81 million. Wednesday was also the 17th straight trade day with inflows, which tied the record set in February. The record was broken on Thursday, when net inflows into 11 funds broke the previous record of 18 days in a row. Together, they brought in $27.78 million. As one of the best producers, BlackRock's eShares Bitcoin Trust once again showed why it is the best by bringing in an amazing $350 million. The FBTC and VanEck Hotel ETFs from Fidelity also did well. 5 spot Bitcoin ETFs, like Invesco Galaxy's BTC, did not see any money come in, but ARK Invest's ARKB and Grayscale's GBTC did, with net losses of $96.6 million and $37.5 million, respectively. There have been net inflows of $15.556 billion into the 11 Bitcoin ETFs that are based in the US in just 5 months. Mark Yusko, head of Morgan Creek Capital, recently talked with Gary Cardone about how important these spot Bitcoin ETFs are and how they affect Bitcoin prices. Yusko thinks that the next 12 months will be very exciting because big investors will rush to buy Bitcoin through ETFs. I thought it was over when BlackRock sent in their application on June 15, 2017. It's taking place. Someone will agree with it. I even said when it would happen, right? Okay, so I lied when I said it would be January 8th. There, I said it. I did say that this would happen, though. Why did I feel so sure? It's true that BlackRock said yes, but there are people who really don't want this to happen. So what's this? In other words, it means making a new banking system based on blockchain. They don't really want that because they like the way things are now and don't want to change. But once they said yes, they meant it. Why did that matter now? Because by January, there were about $30 trillion worth of boomer assets, mostly boomer assets, under the control of financial planners. When did those financial advisors get the message that they needed to stop being zero? 10 basis points was all they had to get off of zero. Okay, that's $30 billion. If $30 billion were spent on Bitcoin, the price would change. But 1% is $300 billion, which isn't even a crazy number. There has never been more money than $300 billion. More fiat cash than Bitcoin has ever been turned into. People said no to it for the first 15 years because they thought it would be $1 trillion bad. No, I said $1 trillion haven't gone in yet, only a couple $100 billion have been turned into Bitcoin, okay. The rest is just bid-ask spread, appreciation, and Metcalfe law growth for the network. Big changes are going to happen if you add $300 billion to an object that hasn't had $300 billion added to it yet. But your point about which institutions would also show up in my life was about investment in institutions. I had 2 jobs as a dispatcher. I got paid to give these companies money. I mean, all the people that are being talked about right now, like Druckenmiller. Stan Druckenmiller helped me with money when he worked for Soros, when he left Soros, and when he ran Duquesne and Howard Marks. In the news, Howard and I were 2 of the first partners in his new business after he left Trust Company of the West. I'm just old. I've been here for a long time and have put these people in charge. First, I know how much capital they have. Second, I know how forward-looking they are. Third, I know what kind of cash they need to put their capital to work, since we're not talking about thousands or millions of dollars. So once there was this platform, BlackRock at all, because once they accepted all of them, real money would start coming in. It starts to happen that people use Coinbase, it stays stable, and all of these other things. The last rule, which no one is even talking about, said you had to have an AP authorized player or whatever they call it. AP stands for something. I can't remember, but if you want to be a provider, you need to have a real person back you up. JP Morgan said, sure, let's do it. For example, didn't your CEO say this was like a Ponzi scheme? Why do you want to help with deals and custody? After everything that had happened, it was going to be fund after fund after fund after fund. I think we've had 50 billion by now. That's the last time I checked. It was 60 billion, with 60 billion going into ETFs and maybe 10 billion going out of GBTC. That's about $50 net. That's 50 billion AUM. Okay, 50 billion is only a sixth of what I thought would happen in the first year. Okay, that's why we're a little behind. I thought we'd be at 150 or 120 billion by now. That's why we're a little behind. It took place already, right? Since those 13 FS are 45 days old, so every day for the past 45 days, so many more have come in that we keep setting new lows and highs. There is going to be more and more building up. Also, we had our first red dot on Plan B, right? The red dots show the time for the spiral move, so I think the next 12 months will be truly amazing. There was a supply shock. So the fair value was around 50, so I rounded down to 50, and half makes the fair value twice as much. Why? Because if the price didn't go up, the mines would have to close. This time it's a little different because of the runes and ordinals and the high transaction fees. Let's say it's not twice as much this time. Let's say 80. Okay, that's a good price. Here's something interesting. Tim Peterson's Metcalfe's law model says that 80 is the fair value. Charles Edwards came up with a plan that is based on turning electricity into value. Based on the hash rate, it will use 80 watts of power. That's interesting. This is my rule. I remember things after hearing them once. I write it down if I hear it twice. When I hear it 3 times, I do something about it. Let's say we have 3 separate ideas that all agree on the same fair value, which is $80,000. At 66, we're still below what it's worth. We are going to add up to fair value. So what's going to happen? The foam would then begin to work because people would see. I've said it before, but this Thanksgiving will be the best one ever. I guess the first one was pretty good too, but this one's going to be great because the last few were terrible because, you're that crypto guy who's kind of welcome but not really welcome, and it will depend on when people followed your advice or didn't follow it. This one, everyone will love us all because the price will probably reach 6 figures. It's going to be talked about by everyone. It will be everywhere. It will belong to every organization. Everyone who works with money will have given in, even Vanguard will have given in. After that, there is one last hyperbolic move until April of next year. Will we reach 150? It doesn't bother me, but I care about everyone. That's right, I said it, everyone, not just Americans, getting a wallet, learning how to own some, and opening an account with one of the exchanges out there. We've put money into a bunch of them in Latin America, Eastern Europe, Asia, etc., to see how they work, and knowing that this is the best way to save money. That's it. People, right? And some people ask, when should you say Bitcoin okay? When are you going to sell your savings? Big down payment on a house, big college costs, big business loans, or loans for other people? I'm not sure.